about whatever you want, we go to someone who is claiming to be Lee Doran in Illinois. Lee, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hi, Ian and Mark. I appreciate taking my call. Yeah, I was just told to contact here. I am officially the new Crasher-in-Chief of Beer Crash, and I just wanted to introduce myself to the audience. It's my understanding that this show is very popular among the people of Beer Crash. And so I figured I'd call in and kind of introduce myself over the phone as it is right now.
Well, I appreciate you doing that. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire here. Go ahead with your introduction. I'm going to ask you some questions after that.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear us?
Call?
Hello?
Hello, Lee. Can you hear us?
Lee?
Hoping to lose the call.
We didn't lose anything. We can hear you.
Head
Are you
to
there,
a landline, Lee.
Lee,
Hello?
going once.
Hello?
Okay, we're having some trouble here. We're going to put him back on hold. We'll see if we can make that work because our listeners are very concerned over Lee and his appointment to the Crasher-in-Chief position at Bureau Crash. There's been an entire group created called Countering the Crasher-in-Chief. Bureau Crash is an organization that up until recently has had very principled individuals who love liberty and understand the non-aggression principle running the organization. And from everything I've heard, and obviously we haven't heard from Lee himself until now, from everything I've heard from those who've been paying close attention, he doesn't seem to have the same level of principle that his predecessors have or had, and it's disturbing to me as somebody who supports the organization. So hopefully we'll be able to iron some of this out, get him to be able to speak for himself and to answer the questions.
That's the very best thing is getting it from the horse's mouth, and I'm glad that he did call in. It shows that it shows that he has leadership capability.
Sure, and I certainly
I don't think anyone
that.
ever disputed that, by the way.
When my board op has been able to rescreen Lee to make sure that he is able to hear what's going on, please just give us a heads up. That way we can go to that when the time is appropriate. Toll-free number here. Maybe if we keep Lee on the line, he comes back here in a moment. If you've got a question for him, you are welcome to. He is still on the line. Go ahead and dial in if you've got a question for Lee. He's on the line with us, 800-259-9231. Lee, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. I heard the last part of what you said, maybe like the last minute or so. But I'm free to answer questions. I'm an open book. I understand that my personal political views may have differed from Pete or Jason or any of the previous people on Bureau Crash, but it is also my understanding to be very sensitive of the current establishment of Bureau Crash, not to ruffle any feathers in any way, shape, or form, and to be very understanding of their goal. The thing that I can offer to Bureau Crash, and I'm assuming this is the reason why I was hired, is because I can find people who are major supporters of liberty, bring them into the cause, bring them into debate, and where we can work to fighting liberty together. And that is my ultimate goal. Is number one is the promotion of liberty and to help people explore their path to the promotion of liberty. Although I understand that my personal views are slightly more mainstream than the people of Bureau Crash. And
now, when you say slightly more mainstream, Lee, do you mean that you support aggressing against peaceful people?
No. There is a difference. I personally was against the Iraq War.
Okay.
Absolutely against it. I held the view that once you tell – this is my personal view – once you tell people, wrongly so, that you will defend them if they step out and fight the oppressors in their neighborhood, and you promise that you're going to back them. I have a serious problem with backing out once that promise is made, meaning that you will leave them to the slaughterers. Now,
it seems to me like you're talking. Sorry to interrupt, but it seems to me that you're talking about a particular policy matter and your viewpoint on that, and it wasn't really the basis of my question. My question was about aggressing against your peaceful neighbors, and that doesn't have necessarily anything to do with one specific war that the U.S. federal government is involved in. Are you familiar with the non-aggression principle?
Yeah, absolutely. I am familiar with the non-aggression principle, and let me clarify one thing first before I answer your question directly. My personal geopolitical national views in no way will be promoted on Bureau Crash. National issues, I feel, should kind of be, in my view, since they do differ slightly from the people on Bureau Crash. I understand that is something that is not going to be taken to the forefront and pushed in any way. The very fact that I may hold these differing views, some people may find unacceptable in any way, shape, or form. Now, to answer your question directly about the non-interventionist principle, my understanding of self-defense is maybe slightly broader than some people. Let me give you an example for that. One example is if someone's running at you with a baseball bat, how far do you have to wait until that person hits you in the face before you say shoot that person? I view foreign policy in a similar sense, where some people may say you are aggressing against somebody else before they've actually taken a far enough step to aggress against you, and that's why I address the individual policy positions that I have.
Now, Lee, I understand where you're coming from on that, and I do think that it's often when it comes to the non-aggression principle, it is a matter of timing as to when people can view it as being the right time. I feel that in the case of the United States foreign policy, that the right time has always come too soon, and that as a result, the United States people have had to pay for hugely expensive wars overseas. However, I can see how the bureaucrash. How your foreign beliefs on foreign policy really don't have anything to do with the job on Bureaucrash. My question is, how is it that you are going to the position of Crasher-in-Chief has been held by people who have believed in no government intervention and in people's lives, and the organizations have been basically revolution. The organization has been revolutionary in overthrowing more or less the aggressive force of the United States government on its own people. I'm wondering how a person like you, and from what I'm hearing, kind of like the Republican guy that I used to be, how a person like you is going to effectively be in the role of a man who is, previously people have been trying to get the aggressive force of government out of people's lives, but you support, say, a certain level of aggressive force. That's what I'm having a difficult time understanding, Lee.
Well, what I can offer is a mutual goal. Like I said, which is the promotion of liberty. Now, what I see around me, and this may be a differing view from the total voluntarist, is I see around me all the walls are crumbling in. We're getting totally bankrupt. The government's now going to be micromanaging our energy. The international.
Wait, before you go on, Lee, just before you go on, was that happening a year ago when George Bush was in office?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Absolutely. When he voted for the look. You're going to find many, I'll just say this word and you might disagree with the word, but, mainstream, I'll just say it because you know what I'm talking about. Mainstream people, libertarians like me, that are going to disagree with George Bush's policies. I thought George Bush was a terrible president, to be totally honest.
Me too.
Terrible. Okay, but my biggest concern was are you hearing me okay?
Oh, yeah, we got you. I'll tell you what, it's the music that throws people off. Hang on, Lee. I want to bring you back. I want to continue this discussion. Would you mind taking a few phone calls if we get some for you?
Oh, absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Hang on. More with Lee Doran, the new Crasher-in-Chief at Bureaucrash. We'll come back, talk a little bit more about the non-aggression principle, because I don't think that's been really put on the table yet. Our listeners that are brand new need to understand what it is. It's Free Talk Live. This is Free Talk Live. Only moments remain. Enough time for your call. If you make it now to 1-800-259-9231. That's the SACL CAI toll-free line. And tonight, this program is brought to you by SACL CAI. Do you have a company that needs to try something new in the area of collections? SACL CAI does collections, early out billing, and they purchase charged-off receivables. SACL's employees are trained in resolving issues for your customers and treating them with respect. They know that not only do you want to collect your money, but you want to keep your clients too. SACL CAI. Check out their banner at freetalklive.com. That's SACL CAI. The controversy has been bubbling over on the air tonight over Bureaucrash.com, the Bureaucrash organization hiring a brand new Crasher-in-Chief. The organization, as my understanding, was dedicated to helping spread free market principles to young people in America, and I think they've been doing a super job of it so far. I've been a Bureaucrash supporter for a while, at least visibly on this show. I like the clothing that they have. I think it's very hip. It's a very cool organization. And the news has been recently that they've hired somebody to take the Crasher-in-Chief position.